Okay, so wherever you are, wherever you have found your spot to be for these minutes, let's just settle in. And once you do, just gently cast your eyes down or close them. And just allow your body for these first few breaths to just really relax where you are. Whatever rushing, whatever stimulus there was right before this moment that you arrived, just allow the body to relax from those things. And just kind of soften yourself through your shoulders, your spine, your face, your jaw. And just honor the fact that you've paused in the middle of a busy night, a busy day, a busy moment. And you've chosen to spend just a few minutes recentering yourself in the present moment. And so as the body is relaxing where you are, now really start to ground through your sit bones and then allow yourself to sit just a little bit taller. Let's start to breathe with a little more intention. So together, a nice, slow, deep breath in and a nice, full breath out. A nice, slow breath in and a full breath out. And again, and release. And we're going to spend these few minutes that we have today really trying to lessen the impact of the turbulence that sometimes feels like it's just sitting in our minds. Or we'll experience quiet and then we feel like the turbulence just comes in blazing and it takes over. But we're going to go through a practice across these few minutes to help us truly begin to lessen the impact of it and then eventually find our way into separating from it. And so as we've settled into where we are physically, let's just each acknowledge what's going on in our heads. So I'm going to pause for just a few breaths and you do the same and just kind of listen. Listen to the thoughts, listen to the distractions, and just be aware of them. Just own them here in this moment. It's so easy to get frustrated with ourselves, to judge ourselves and think that we're failing at meditation because we can't get our mind quiet. But really and truly, all we're trying to do is be present. And sometimes in the present moment, the mind is telling us things. And then sometimes it takes us to the past or to the future and it distracts us. But don't get frustrated by it. Just stay aware. Stay open. And then let's see through these few minutes if we can lessen the impact of the turbulence. And so just continuing to breathe slow and deep and rhythmic breaths. And I want to ask us two of those sacred soul questions. And then we're going to see if we can find some clarity about the answers to them as we grow quiet in just a bit. But the first question asks us, who am I? Who am I? And our meditation practice is not set out to seek the answers. It really is just to be open to whatever comes up. But first, I would really like us just to keep asking, who am I? Who am I? And some of us are in a place in life where we've grappled with that question. We've come through so many parts of this journey, and we have some clarity about that. And there are others of us who that question seems like the hardest of all to answer. Because whatever part of life we're in right now, there doesn't seem to be a lot of clarity. But no matter where you fall in that continuum, the question is still just as important. Who am I? And then the second of these these soul questions. We're going to sit with that one as well and ask, what do I want? What do I want? And again, kind of like the who am I, some of us are in places in our lives where we've really started to find clarity about the things that we know we want. And we're setting a course in our life that directs us toward those things. And then there's those of us who, just like the who am I, the what do I want question seems so ambiguous, and we have no idea how to answer it. But again, all we're going to do is ask the question, who am I? And what do I want? We arrived in meditation, and whether we verbalize it or not, those two questions really undergird our practice every time we show up. We show up seeking. We show up needing something, desiring, wondering. And within all of those seeking and wondering moments, we are asking ourselves the question of who am I and what do I want? Because when we're not seated and still and quiet in meditation, the world is trying to answer those questions for us. But these minutes that we spend will help us to see that the world's answers are probably not the right ones. Doesn't always mean that they're harmful, it just means they're not the right ones. Because the answers to those two soul questions can only come from within. And so I want to share with you a mantra, and we're going to use that mantra to sit with these two questions. Mantras have kind of gotten a lot of popularity over the last several years in our culture, but they're really quite simple. They've been around for thousands of years, and all they are mind instruments. That's what it translates to, mantra. Mind instruments. And they're not always made to be translated into English. Sometimes we have to just be okay with the vibration and the energy within the sound. So we're going to try that for these few minutes that we have together. We're going to use the mantra, so hum. And if you need to have an idea of what that mantra would translate into being, it's just simply, I am that. More ambiguity, but really and truly not. I am that, so hum. And so we're going to try to find the gap between our thoughts, which is where the turbulence begins to subside. And what I would encourage you to do is breathing in the sound so, and breathing out the sound hum. And see if your focus on that mantra, those two simple syllables, can help the turbulence subside just a bit. And then you can just spend time right there in the gap. Not in our thinking mind, but rather in the true essence of our heart mind, of who we are. And so I'm going to repeat the mantra a few times just to kind of find us a rhythm, and then I'll invite you just to quietly do it yourself. Maybe you do it in your head. Maybe you say it audibly where you are. But just see if this tool, this instrument of the mantra, can help to lessen the impact of the turbulence. Breathing in, so. Breathing out, hum. Breathing in, so. Breathing out, hum. So, 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 hum So hum So, hum. So, hum. Just continue repeating the mantra within your heart mind. And if it gets a little muddled or you lose your way, just come right back to it, breathing in, so. Breathing out, hum. And try to find yourself in the stillness of the gap, right between the thoughts. Just release the mantra of so hum. And let's sit with these two questions one more time. Who am I? And what do I want? And as those soul questions just hang within the space between us, I want to just reassure myself as well as you, is there's nothing wrong with us if we slip back into that thinking mind, determined to answer the questions, determined to know the translation of the mantra. But as we slip back into that, it's so easy to come right back to the middle, right back to the gap between those thoughts. Breathing in, breathing out. It really is a practice. We show up here for these few minutes, we separate from the busyness of our day, and we practice being here in the gap between the thoughts. And when you can find your way into that gap, that's the time to ask the soul questions of who am I and what do I want? Let's not ask them when we're out in the busyness of that turbulence of the world. Because if you ask them there, chances are the world will give you an answer that may not align with what your soul would answer. So just commit from our practice for these few minutes that you want to spend more time right here in the gap. It doesn't require someone taking you there. You've got the words, you've got the mantra, you've got the breath. Breathing in, so. Breathing out, hum. Breathing in, I am. Breathing out, that. And when you sit with the idea of I am that, and we let the thinking mind just go to the side, the answers to the questions of who am I and what do I want will begin to find a little bit of clarity. But through it all, remind yourself, it's a practice. And like anything else, we have to keep showing up. We have to keep practicing. So, hum. So, hum. So hum. Namaste.